Why we do what we do. Please help me welcome Ken Smith. Ken Smith, why we do what we do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Excuse me. I'm going to start and end with quotes. Toastmasters who take on specific meeting roles to start the meeting, keep it running, maintain momentum, and conclude on time are fundamental to a meeting's success. All the participants, regardless of their role, must work together to present entertaining, dynamic meetings. Now, what is meeting success? To me, it means it's a fun meeting and we learn and grow in the skills we're here to develop. And it takes a lot of roles, a lot of people doing what they're supposed to do, being well prepared to do those things, for all of that to happen. And I will go through each of those roles one by one. But first, I want to talk about roles for you that aren't listed in the module that are very important. And I hope this works. This screen has disappeared from this facility.
Yeah, that works.
As you can see, and that's the way it looks on my computer screen.
We forgive whoever took the screen.
This is our members' website. On it, there is a link that I have circled there and on the handout in front of you. And that's just for reference, but it's called Member Downloads. And if you click on that, you'll come up with a list of all of the roles that we do in this club and how to do them best. So that's for your reference, and you should be reading those before you come to a meeting. We also, if you have your 4-week schedule in front of you, you should have one. We have them over there every meeting. On the back side, there's a list of our members, but near the top, you'll see our club's website. So that's for your future use. Just, that earlywords.toastmastersclubs.org is the member website I'm referring to, where you can log in and download those meeting roles and forms, because there are often forms being used in it. There wasn't supposed to be a humor speech, I'm sorry. Now, one of the key things that you're going to use often is our 4-week schedule that's on the Google Docs. I've written it down on the bottom here, but the URL is, I can't even reach how long it is.
Right.
So go to it the first time and then bookmark it. You don't need to go through the club website every time to get to it. It is a Google Doc, so it's on Google's site, and if you have that bookmarked, then just go to it every time instead of going through the club website. It's a lot easier. Also, the 4-week schedule, there are a couple of things to notice. 1, you see what your role is. 2, you need to let the Toastmaster know you intend to be here. And you do that just by clicking on your name and then clicking the bold face symbol. And then we know, or the Toastmaster knows, to expect you here. It is your responsibility, if you're on the Toastmasters team, and I'll go through those in a few minutes, to let the Toastmaster know if you're going to be here or not. If you're on the General Evaluators team, and I'll go through those, you need to let the General Evaluator know that you intend to be here. Our club policy is, if you know in advance that you're not going to be able to make a meeting, let Arlinda know. She handles the advanced meetings. But if it's less than a week, if you're within the week of the next meeting, your job actually is to find your own replacement first, if you can. Contact, if there's anyone listed as unassigned, get their commitment that they will do that job for you, and then inform your team leader, whether that's Toastmaster or General Evaluator. If you cannot then contact that team leader, not Arlinda, and tell him or her that here are the people I tried and they wouldn't do it. Would you please work it out for me, because I have to go, whatever. So please do those things. You'll notice also on the 4-week schedule Google Docs, there are some tabs. In Chrome, they're along the bottom. I'm not sure where they are in other browsers. One of the tabs is the Speech Intros tab. If you're a prepared speaker, you should go to that site. This is what helps the Toastmaster know what your introduction is, and it lets us print on the back of the agenda the objectives of a speech. As Jim mentioned, we vote on the speaker who best met their objectives, not necessarily the best speech. And that's because we sometimes have very new speakers and very experienced speakers, and it kind of evens out the playing field if we're focused on the objectives instead. Now you see I have number 38 circled there for Arlinda's speech. This isn't her 38th speech. This is the project number in our manuals list that is another tab on that. If you're in the Competent Communication Manual, then your project number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. But if you're in an advanced manual, as she is, and she's doing project 3 in her advanced manual, if she just put a 3 there, then Competent Communication project number 3 is what would come up as the fill-in. So there's a lookup table with consecutive numbering. And the only thing you put in that field is the number. Don't spell out what's supposed to be there, because if it sees the whole thing, it doesn't match the table, and it goes to the last item on the list, which is a high-performance leadership project, which is probably not what you're doing. So here, this is almost useless, isn't it? Here, but it does show you that there's a list of things. So she looked for speeches by management, project number 3. Whoops. And to the left of that was 38. That's how she found the number to put in there. And this is what fills in then on the back side of the agenda. Again, if you want your objectives there, you have to have the right number there. Okay. The assigned roles. Toastmaster is the MC of the meeting. There is more to it than just being an MC, however. Toastmaster has to prepare in advance, has to come up with a theme for the meeting, make sure the joke master, the general evaluator, and the topic master at the very least know what the theme is in advance, because they're going to prepare something related to the theme. General evaluator is going to prepare a thought for the day, joke master a joke, and topic master the topics to relate to that theme. Everyone that'll show on the left side is part of that Toastmasters team, starting with topics master. Again, come up with the questions. But beyond that, as you sit down at the beginning of the meeting, what I do is look at the 4-week schedule, look down the column, and look for the people who do not have a significant speaking role. Obviously, unassigned members don't have a significant speaking role. The greeter does not have one. The vote counter introduces the idea that he'll be collecting votes, but he doesn't give a report at the end. Pick a few of those people, have them be the first ones, and if there are any guests, let them go next. We want them to see how it goes first, and then we give them their 3 options. And then we go to the more advanced, the people who have more significant speaking roles, the other members of the evaluation team, and then we can go on to maybe Toastmaster and general evaluator, and lastly, the evaluators, we give them an option again, because they may still be working out their evaluations. The speakers, of course, have to prepare well in advance. And that's why we do a 4-week schedule. Let them know at least 3 weeks when they come in, sit down, see the 4-week schedule. The first week is listed as today, so It goes on for 3 weeks, and you can know what you would, have an idea of what you want to prepare for. The general evaluator. Now these all report to the Toastmaster if there's going to be a problem with coming in. If they're going to have to miss a meeting, they're on the Toastmasters team. The general evaluator needs to prepare a thought for the day and make sure that their team is ready and able to do their jobs. Let's move along a little more quickly. Speech evaluators, of course, should know in advance what the speaker project is. They should be in communication before the meeting. I emailed Conda last night. It didn't give him a lot of time, but at least he knew that he would be ready to do this particular one. Speech evaluators report to the general evaluator if they're going to have an issue with time. Timekeeping. This is an important part of our meeting. I had been asked to give a speech on the Constitution to a Rotary Club it was a Mason Club. And they told me I'd have 40 minutes, so I prepared a very elaborate PowerPoint presentation. And then everyone who came up before me took more than their time. And when it got to my time, I had 15 minutes. And I had to, on the fly, chop it down. So keep in mind, everyone who has a job to do, stay within your time limit because you're taking it away from somebody else if you go over that time. Grammarian, a word of the day. Now, why do we do something like this? Why do we have a grammarian? Like it or not, people do judge you by the words you use. And if you want to get somebody to understand your point of view, to agree with you or whatever, you don't want them distracted by what was that word, you know, that was out of place. So none of us are English professors, but we do our best and learn every meeting a little bit more about how to speak properly. And of course the ah counter, we know that when we go, we're letting people know that we're having trouble capturing the next thought and expressing it. And you really don't want to give that impression when you're giving a prepared speech. Some of the additional roles, we have the greeter, because we have a lot of setup to do here because it's not ready for us when we get in. We have somebody other than the Sergeant at Arms responsible for greeting people. Joke and goodie master. Of course, a joke is a 1 to 2 minute speech, a humorous speech. It helps you learn proper pausing and so forth. Vote counter, Jim's job today, isn't just to count the votes, it's also to collect the ballots for the speakers. And then the videographer helps us be able to review our own performances by looking at it online. We have a Sergeant at Arms. Now, what's the Sergeant at Arms' job? It's to make sure we have a meeting place and that it is ready to go and that we have an adequate supply of supplies. The president, one of the least important jobs in the club, that's why Gary's doing it this year. His job is to set the theme, and then it's his committee's job to carry that out. So that's what the rest of the officers do. Vice President of Education has the hardest job. Her job is to make sure that we have all the roles filled, thank you, scheduled in advance, that everyone's prepared to do their job, to make the changes that inevitably come in when people say, I won't be able to make that particular meeting. She has to reschedule the whole thing, or quite a bit of it. Public relations, Eric is out here trying to let the public know. Public relations is about creating a positive image for your organization. That's it. Somehow let the public know that we have this organization and that it is something they might want to consider being part of. Vice President of Membership, of course, takes over once someone has joined the club to help that person with identify their goals, what they would like to accomplish, and then to communicate with all members on an ongoing basis. That's Conda's job. to make sure that we are meeting our goals, that we're happy with the club, that we're not about to quit, things like that. So VP membership does that. Secretary keeps all the records, in charge of the records of the meeting, and I'm doing that at this time, as well as treasurer. My job is to make sure I collect the dues and pay Toastmasters International in a timely manner, as well as pay for the supplies. And I'll end with the final quote: coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success. Henry Ford.